when you create a new instance, you just click on to here where it says create new. You'll notice that your instant number is just automatically populated already. So the system generates this, so you won't have to worry about inputting a instant number here. Also, if you notice on the screen, here, let me make it a little bigger. Okay. If you notice on the screen, you'll have different sections or different fields that have a red asterisk next to them. These pretty much mean that these are the mandatory fields that you must fill out before you can work on this ticket. So here, the first mandatory field is contact type. So if you click down on the drop-down menu, you'll notice that there's different types of contact types. There's chat, email, phone, self-service, and walk-in. There's also monitoring as well. It depends on if your team uses that functionality, but typically it's for IOC. But if, say, for instance, someone called in for an issue, you can click on phone as a contact type.
That'll be the
You'll
most,
yeah. You'll notice that also it gets grayed out, so that signifies that the mandatory field has been filled out. Okay. Your next mandatory field is your open for, and this is pretty much just who you open the ticket for. So whoever called in, say for instance, I'm just going to say Dexter Banks, he called in about through phone. So here you would put his name here. You can either, if you know their name, you can input it directly, first name, last name, or you can input their employee ID number through LDAP, or you can even look them up in here. And it's better to, know their, email or employee ID so it can narrow it down for you. And also, if you hover over here, you can see, you'll notice that there's more information about the user that you open the ticket for. And so this information is just taken directly from LDAP. So if you need more information about the user who called in, if you hover over the little I, you can see more information. Okay. The next option, this isn't mandatory, but if you click here, if the customer is a non-FedEx customer, you can click this option as well.
Okay. We only support internal, so yeah.
Yeah, I figured. Okay. And you'll notice that also the employee ID number is automatically populated as well, so you don't have to worry about that. All right. Also, I apologize for the background noise if it's kind of loud over here. Well, people around me, but
No,
in your case, your reporting opcode would be FedEx Express Canada. If the user, do you have any other users you think that would be calling into your service desk from different opcodes?
Just FedEx Ground.
Okay, so if it's FedEx Ground, you would just select FedEx Ground. So these are just whoever the user is and the opcode that they're reporting to would be listed here. Okay. All right. The next mandatory field is your short description. This is basically, as I said, a short description of your ticket issue. So for the purpose of this training session, I'm just going to say AirWatch not functioning on mobile device. So this is, your short description is, like as I said, the short description. However, if you want to add a more detailed description to your ticket, you can enter it in here. So if any information that you want to put in more detail, you can put under a description. Okay. And also, I skipped over this, but an important field to put in is your configuration item. So this is pretty much just the topic that the user called in about. I'm assuming you guys have your configuration items all set up that you want to use for your tickets?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Do you guys you're familiar with configuration items, correct?
I don't know if that's new to us have you heard of that, Paula? Okay, can you let them know then, please?
So I think we sent them over quite some time back with the configuration items.
Yeah, so your configuration items would be in here. So whoever, the people who called your service desk, their issues will fit your configuration items that you already moved into incident management. So you can either type it in through configuration item, or you can look through it through the magnifying glass.
Okay.
Also, if you notice, if you have,
Yeah, and when
If you
we're,
hover over,
oh, sorry, I was gonna say, when we are signed in, we will see only our configuration items, correct?
you'll be able to see everything, so you'll have to, search for it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Have you noticed if you hover over it also to get some description of what it is? So most of these will have, if you hover over them, they'll have information about each
Okay.
field. Okay. In this case, I'm just going to select Air Launch. And in your case, it would be your configurations that you have for your team. And you'll notice that once you select your configuration item, the category, depending on the configuration item, will be automatically populated. And you'll notice a new mandatory field will be subcategory. So as you can see here on the pop-up menu, it says the subcategory of the instance. So it would be based on the category that you selected. If you click on the drop-down, you'll see there's various options you can choose from in terms of the subcategory. Alright, so in this case, I'm just going to pick an example. I'm just going to say Managed Information Technology or Managed Product. Okay. Again, if you have a missing CI, there's also this option here. You can select it if you have a missing CI, but in terms of that, there's more information about that inside the training guide. But it's up to you. It's not very common that they use this missing CI option. Normally, you'll have your CI in there.
That's if you can't locate one that fits your situation?
Yes. All right. As you can see here, so now all the mandatory fields are filled out. And so when you hit submit, before you submit, this instant ticket will go to everyone within your assignment group. They'll send an email. I'm part of the knowledge reviewer and problem management group. However, depending on what your assignment group is, this ticket will be sent to all of the users who are able to work on this ticket. So if you have incident analysts or you have incident coordinators in your assignment group, then this will be sent to them.
An email will be sent?
Mm-hmm. It will be sent. An email will be sent to anyone within this assignment group, and it will let them know that this ticket is in your queue and that it needs to be assigned.
Now, we don't necessarily do a group. We have 3 desk side guys that they go to.
Okay.
And we don't necessarily need it to go to a group because we really don't have a group. We want to just assign it to an individual. How would that work?
Well, unfortunately, through incident management, you can only assign it to a group. So, a lot of people do have, you can make up your own assignment group and you can put those 3 individuals into that assignment group. Or if they're part of a different assignment group, you can give them each an assignment group. In most cases, you could do something like Benefits Express Canada and, whatever you want your knowledge assignment group to be called.
So once it goes into an assignment group, how does an individual claim the ticket?
I'll actually show that to you in 1 second. So in my case, I'm in this knowledge reviewer assignment group.
Okay.
So that also ties into, for the users who go into that also ties into that spreadsheet that I showed you earlier.
Lydia?
So you'll have to assign them to assignment group and then give the users who are part of that assignment group a role.
Sorry, Lydia, it's Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we already actually set those up a while back. So we have one
Okay.
set for our desk side guys and one set for our help desk, if it hasn't changed.
Okay. And yeah, so whenever you work on your tickets, you'll be using those. And so as long as you have all your users within those groups, then you should be good. And you can always just add more users to the group, to your assignment group, however you see fit.
Does
I'll show
everybody
you what I mean by this.
Yeah, if you could, that would be great, because I was gonna just ask my
Yeah.
guys, are we aware of what that would look like?
Yeah, so you hit submit.
Where
I
are we?
can't, since I'm in UAT, I can't show you the email. However, you'll definitely be getting an email it'll have a link that'll send you directly to your ticket. However, you can also go back into it. So you notice this one, it's the first option once you submit it, but if you go to your menu and you go into My Groups Work, so this is anything that's assigned to your group. So you click here, and you'll notice that the one I just created is right here. So this means that this ticket has not been assigned yet, and it needs to be worked on. So as you notice, all of these These were just test cases that I've done, but these have not been worked on.
So today, we're with JNexus, and we have the ability to assign it to an individual. And with Service Desk, we're only gonna be able to assign it to a group. And what you're saying is that group, everybody in that group is gonna be responsible for looking at this constantly throughout a day and taking their tickets out?
Well, whoever is responsible for, working on the tickets, yes, they'll be sent an email. Not everyone has to work on this ticket. But yes, the email will be sent out to the group. It's just to let them be aware of it, and who is part, for those of you, so you only have 3 users that'll be working on the ticket, right?
Yes.
So you'll have an assignment group created it's just to categorize them, just to make it easier. And so you'll have an assignment group, and then those 3 users who are able to have the intake coordinator role will be sent an email notifying them that this incident is within their queue and it needs to be worked on.
But Lydia, I'm sorry, Tala again, you can, what we did when we were testing, when I was testing the UAT environment, you could go back into the ticket and then just assign it to yourself from that
Yes,
group.
if you click here, you can assign it to yourself. You can click here and
So we'll
click
show that it's
assign to,
assigned
and
to
you can
you.
assign it to yourself. Since I'm part of the knowledge reviewer problem management group, my name would be listed here. Keep in mind though, again, it also ties into assignment group. So if you want to assign it to yourself, if you're not part of the assignment group that you listed here, then you'll be thrown an error. You have to be part of the assignment group.
Okay.
Now, question for you. If you're in the assignment group, can you assign it to someone else?
That listing that she just showed.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can put their name, say, I'm going to say Doris. She's not part of this group, but if you click on the magnifying glass, there's all the users, the names of the users are within this
Yes, we
assignment
can
group.
assign it, we can assign it.
Oh, okay, so
We can assign it to
even though
someone.
it's in that group, that individual,
Yeah.
we can do the specific
We can use
assigning.
specific assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
like you said, we created a help desk, so you'll just assign it back to yourself if you open
Yep.
and closed it.
Yep.
And the same with the
Mhm.
guys, the same with the guys.
And we can
Mhm.
send it to the
Yeah.
guys, and then they can close it themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. Okay, so I'm just going to assign the ticket to myself. Again, you can hover over the information icon to see the LDAP information about yourself or whoever you assigned it to. Okay. So from here, actually, you'll notice that the life cycle has changed too. When we first started out creating the ticket, it was on instant logging. So this is the first basic stage where you put in all your mandatory information, and then instant diagnosis is whenever you can start working on the ticket. So when you start working on the tickets, it's been assigned to me. So say for instance, I want to start working on the ticket. You can go to this field of state and change it to work in progress. And so depending on how long you're working on this ticket, you can just click save. And so when you click save, this ticket will be under my work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So say for instance, I worked on this ticket and everything's working well. You can click save. And it won't leave the screen, so you'll still be on the same screen. And so say, for instance, it's been resolved. You can change it to a state of resolved. And there's some mandatory fields that I'll go into here in a second. However, there's also one thing I want to point out. If for whatever reason you want to put this ticket into a state of pending to come back to it later after a prolonged period of time, you can click on pending, and you'll notice that there's another mandatory field that shows up for pending reasons. So it just depends if you need to, for whatever reason, your ticket, you need to go get parts for it and come back and work on the ticket. You can click on, pending parts, and you'll notice that another mandatory field shows up, or it should. Okay, so this one doesn't, but here, let me just pick another one. Change. Well, let me click save, that might change it. Yes, okay. You'll notice that the life cycle changes to instant pending, and there are more mandatory fields that you must fill out, which should show up here. I am sorry why, I don't know why it's not showing up, but UAC usually has issues sometimes. But down here, there'd be another tab for resolution information, why it was pending, and then also it pending instant. If you want more information about this, I apologize that I can't show this to you right now, but it's also within the training guide. But in most cases, you just hit data resolved. Okay, so when you click resolve, when you're ready to close out the ticket, you'll notice that another mandatory tab shows up called resolution information. So here is where you put in your resolution type, so pretty much what you did to resolve the issue, and you'll notice that there's different options here that you can choose from. Okay. Resolution error is not mandatory, however, there's more, if you want to put in the resolution error, there's more options here you can choose from. Resolved at level is pretty much, if it was resolved at level 1 or level 2, you can choose that as well. Right. The resolution notes is pretty much a description of how you resolve the ticket. So I'm just going to say, resolve user device. Okay. So those are the mandatory fields that you must fill out when you resolve the ticket. And there's one thing, pay attention to the screen when I click save from here. You'll notice that there's a error message that pops up saying that you must attach a knowledge article. So when you attach a knowledge article, your knowledge articles will tie to your short description. So when you look for a knowledge article, by clicking this icon here, it will search for any knowledge article that match the short description. It's best practices to use your knowledge-based articles whenever you work on your tickets. So your short descriptions hopefully will tie into the knowledge-based articles that your team has created. Do you guys have any questions in regards to that?
Yeah, the knowledge-based articles, how do we even start to create them?
Oh, I thought I was informed that you guys already created. That is a good question. I'm actually going to have to set up a training guide for you, training session for you for that. Paula, I remember you reached out to me in regards to that. Did you need another training?
No, it wasn't the training, it was the, like, I know when we were talking before, sorry, I can't remember who it was. I think if we took the service now from the get-go, we would be using you guys' knowledge-based articles, but if we were to create ours, we have to create them from the get-go type thing and get approval or something like that, like recreate all of them, so we haven't done that yet.
Okay.
But we did go through the training, like on how to create
Okay.
one.
Is this a mandatory field to choose knowledge base?
Yeah.
In order to resolve
Yeah.
the ticket,
To close it, yeah.
to close the ticket, yes.
The reason why it's best practices to use your own is because you'll get a lot of people coming and complaining when they don't want you to use their KVs.
Will they know?
Yes, because when they run reports, they'll see unknown instance that they didn't work on that used their KB. And so I can't tell you how many times I've been getting people saying, people have been using my KBs, is there any way to get them to not use it? That sort of stuff. So it is best practices to use your own KBs.
Okay, so this one now, you're in a specific region, are you, or?
Yes, so it will search for everything, so all the KBs that are out there.
Even ones that we're gonna create are gonna be placed here?
Yes.
And what if we wanna use one of the ones that's already existing, can we just copy it and call it Canada or something? How do we differentiate ours if it's exactly the same as someone else's?
Yeah, you can actually, when you create a KB, you can actually copy theirs and, just name it to whatever, you want to have.
Canada Airwatch.
Yeah. So, it will take another a little bit longer process to create your knowledge base article, but you can copy it. If you go into the submodule, there's a knowledge base submodule, and you can actually create your knowledge base articles. I can give you another training in regards to how to create a knowledge base article, but that will also take a little bit of time, and I don't think we have time during the session.
So for the sake of wanting to start using this tomorrow, what I'm thinking or seeing is we can't, because we don't have any knowledge base.
Yes, we were informed. I guess it was kind of confusion because initially we thought that you guys already had knowledge base articles.
No, we were going to use whatever was pre-existing, but now that you're saying if we attach it to there, then some people might get upset if we're using them. That's what that's what we were told.
You can. I would strongly suggest you make your own. If you want to use someone else's, just keep in mind that you may or may not get people complaining about it. So it depends on it, if you want to deal with that.
And how long does it take to create one on average?
Password reset. Why don't we try one of those? Okay, can we create a knowledge base real quick and show us how to do that?
Yeah, sure. If you want to create a knowledge base article, you can click on Create New.
Okay.
And the process for creating one is a lot simpler than creating an incident ticket.
Excuse me.
You'll have different topics you can choose from. So right now the topics are general, news, FAQ, design document, recording, script, release documents, and known error. So depending on what you want it to fit into, like if it's an FAQ, you can click on FAQ or general if you want to as well.
Okay.
And you'll notice if you click on general, there's also different categories that tie into each of the topics. The categories are actually all the same per topic. You'll notice that there's all these different topics you can choose from. And
So if we wanted to pick password reset, I don't see password anywhere. It would have to be other.
Yes, it would be.
That blows me away. That I don't like. I would think password would be so common it would be there.
Oh, here we go. It would be under category request, and it'd be password reset.
Okay, so general category is a request, password reset. Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, just play around with it. Like if you can't find it, click on each category and see if you can find it. In most cases, there are in here.
Requesting stuff. Yeah, you have to play into everyone.
Okay, so when we fill all this out and we go to the bottom
You have to do
and
some
hit
valid-
submit, so there's your self-service. That's the brief description. Oh, solution. Actually, I'm gonna let you continue
your
on.
self-service would be when you create your KB. Your self-service, like if you create a KB and you don't want those without a license to see all the information in your KB, you put it into your self-service. However, most of your instructions would be under level 1 or level 2 or level 3 if you have it. So pretty much these sections are where you would input your information.
Okay.
And you can format it, you just type your information directly into these fields, and you can format it based on, you have all your different, you can add images, you can add videos.
Oh my God.
And there's one thing to note about solution title. When you name it, there is a naming standard for it. In your case, it would be your OPCO, which would be FedEx Canada, or Canada.
Can you go in and alter these afterwards?
Yes.
Would you mind creating it? Can you create this for us or no? Yeah, okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, sure. And so once you select topics in your categories and subcategories, you can actually choose a valid to date. So your valid to date would be the date that this knowledge article will expire.
Oh, wow. How about never?
And so unfortunately it is mandatory, so most people just go as far as they can before it will send you an email notifying you that your article is about to expire, and if you want to renew the article, And, you know, to keep it, to extend it, you can also do that as well.
Okay, good stuff. And who gets the
Um,
who gets the email? The person who
Author.
created it?
Part of, yes, the
So-
person who created it,
Okay.
and also everybody within your knowledge group.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. So if you, I mean, you can use the same knowledge group. You can, most people use the same incident management group they use for the knowledge group. However, if you want a whole different team to create the knowledge base articles, you can create a whole new knowledge group as well. That's up to your discretion if you want to do that or not. So, and for this case, I'm going to be part of the knowledge reviewer problem management. So if I don't do anything from here and I click submit after I input all the information, this knowledge article needs to be approved before you can publish it. So it will send an email to everyone within this knowledge group saying that, hey, this knowledge article needs to be published, can you approve it?
So what kind of information do you put in the knowledge base? The instructions on how to resolve the issue that you're currently attempting to solve?
Yes. So it's up to your discretion, you know, how much information you want to put in there, what information you want to put in there, you know, just anything that you feel like will help your service desk.
So it could be Cisco phone password reset or laptop password reset. We could use that password
And like I said,
reset
to make it
for-
easier for you can also, through UAT, you can look at the other published articles, and it'll kind of give you some ideas on what you might want to, you know, include in your knowledge base articles.
And for the process, you said that it needs to be approved?
Yes,
Yeah.
it will just be anybody within your team who you want to approve knowledge base articles. It will send an email to those users.
Okay, so is it multiple
So that
users or
also
just
helps.
one?
multiple.
It can be multiple,
Depends on who's
really.
Okay, who's
Again,
our
you
approver?
can-
Who's
It can be-
set to be our approver?
Whoever is in that knowledge base. So if you picked the right now it's sitting at what is the group? It's knowledge reviewer problem. If there's 10 people in there, all 10 people will have to approve it.
Really?
That's how I
They
understand it.
don't- all of them don't, I mean, they'll have the opportunity to approve it, but not necessarily all of them have to approve it, so at least one person from the group has to approve it.
Oh, so it doesn't matter who, just one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, yeah. And again, if you want to, it's just like instant also as well, if you want to assign only one person to approve the article from the group, you can actually put their name down.
So if I'm
So
part of
it's not
that group,
of
can
the
I approve my own knowledge base?
Yep.
Good.
So you just put your name down, and it will lock it down, so only you can approve this knowledge article.
Okay.
And here you'll have to select your impact opcode, so this is pretty much just what opcode it affects. So in your case, it would be FedEx. I'm not sure if you're in here, okay. It would be Express Canada, or if it affects someone else, then you can put them in there as well. If it affects services, or if it affects ground, you can put it in there as
So
well.
you can put multiple opcos in it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Okay, and you just lock it, and they'll just lock it down as your impact opco. And here, see, if you have a link to a knowledge base article, some sort of knowledge article that you created before, and you'd rather use that in place of, you know, not inputting all the information in here, you can click this. And what it does is that you can make this knowledge base article a direct link. So what it does is when you click the knowledge base article, it will send you directly to the link that you attached to it.
You said,
However, it's not as biased that you do that. It's better to just input the information directly into here.
Yeah.
you mentioned that in the creation of the article itself, you can use whatever materials you need, be it images or videos and things like that. Do you actually upload the video, or do you just supply an external link?
You can do both. In most cases, it'll work out better if you attach it.
Upload the actual video?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there a limit to the size of the file?
There is, I believe, it's not that big. I mean, you have a bit of a range. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it'll throw you an error if it's too big.
That would be a long trial and error.
But most cases it will fit in here, unless, it's a really, heavy video, but in most cases it won't limit you, I don't believe so, but again, if it does limit you, it'll throw you back an error, so you can always resize it, or however fits you for your purpose.
Okay.
Also in regards to what I mentioned before, the naming standard, you would put your opco here first, and there would be a space dash space, and then your topic, or your category, which would be a request, and then another space dash space, and then your short description, so in your case it would be password reset.
So the template for the requested title is FedEx Canada space dash space request space dash, and then anything
Yeah.
after that, we could do whatever we want, but from,
Yeah, but this would be the category. This would tie into your category that you chose up here earlier. So if you chose network, that would be network instead of request.
I see. Okay.
under subcategory. Oh, no, under category, gotcha. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so this part right here can be anything that you choose.
Good.
Yeah, it's just to, to help people know immediately, when they look for an article, this is for FXC Canada, so, it makes it a little bit better for them not to use your article, so they can see immediately, oh yeah, this is for FXC Canada.
Okay.
And it also helps you find it easier too, in terms of reporting. So, yeah, so look, I'm going to do it for testing purposes, so I'm just going to put test. Again, you can play around with it in formatting wise. Okay, so since I assigned this to myself, once you finish creating it, you can click on submit. Okay. If you go into, so if I didn't assign this to myself, or if you didn't assign it to one person or two people, then this knowledge base article I just created will go to everyone. So it would go under my approvals. And you'll notice the one I just created is right here. It'll have a little date of requested, so that pretty much means that this knowledge article needs to be approved before it can be published.
And how do we approve it?
What you do is you click into the knowledge base article name, and it'll open up the knowledge article you created.
Yep.
And so this also helps too if, someone, for whatever reason, used your knowledge group and you didn't, give them permission to create this knowledge base article, then you can also, approve or reject it. So if you didn't want them to create this, you can also reject it.
Okay.
And you can delete a knowledge base article?